Hi, I'm Cheryl Fatima. I'm Abdullah Samir's wife, and this is my first time on his channel. Today, we'll be doing a short interview with him regarding morality and atheism.
And hi, I'm Abdul Samir, and we thought it'd be fun to have a short discussion slash interview type video. I used to be a Muslim for 15 years, and I'm now atheist, and my wife, she still believes in God, so we thought it'd be nice. So let's get to it.
Okay, so our first question today is how can you be moral without believing in God?
I believe that just like a kid instinctively knows right from wrong, he knows, not that punching someone is wrong and taking his stuff. I feel like we all have certain values that we know are kind of right and wrong. Sometimes people say these are universal values. Do good to others as you want to be done to yourself. The golden rule, as it's sometimes called. We all know stealing is wrong, cheating, lying, murder. In general, in most circumstances, these things are wrong. If we look at evolution and a history, we know we can look and see why we have some of the values that we have. For example, incest is considered disgusting to most people because it leads to genetic abnormalities, and people that would have done it would have basically not survived, and the ones that didn't do it, would have survived, and they are the ones that find it disgusting today. So for the most part, this is how some of our values come. And there's other reasons that we have values. We have norms in society. We have civilization that's built up, and through these norms and in society, we have certain values. We know it's okay. We consider it wrong to cheat on our spouses. We consider it wrong to steal. We feel that it's unjust if one person has to do more work and the other person doesn't. We feel like in a marriage it should be equal. Certain values that we have for a family. It's some things that we've learned from experience, like hitting children is bad. In the past, everyone used to hit the kids. Now we know that these things are actually harmful based on decades of research of child psychology. So this is how we learn. Compared to believing in a holy book that's stuck in time, we can actually grow and learn, and we can actually improve society based on evidence, and that's my perspective. There's a name for that. It's called secular humanism, which is basically a religion without any belief in God or without any holy books. And the idea behind it is to improve humanity based on human flourishing. So that would be the basis of morality. It would be human flourishing.
Okay, so just out of curiosity, and I'm sure many of our viewers probably think the same. If someone does something majority of society considers immoral, should there be a punishment for that? Like, what's your idea about punishment?
It depends on what you mean by immoral. Like if they cheated on the taxes, or did they shoplift. It depends what you mean by
Like for
immoral.
like murder or rape or any like harsh crime like that.
There should definitely be consequences for bad actions. At the very least, these people should be put away and put in jail and kept away so they don't harm others. The best situation would be if you can reform them and you can show them why it's wrong, and you can teach them, and you can help them to recover. Maybe they had previous child abuse and they ended up as rapists themselves. Maybe whatever the case is. I have a video on free will which goes into this in more detail, and I do believe that people are the way they are because of the experiences in life, the genetics, and so yes, there should be punishments, but not for the sake of punishment, but more for the sake of either detriment or for the sake of keeping them away from us.
Okay. So our second question is, how do you have any meaning in your life?
So I have a whole video on this. Meaning in life, I feel, is something that you have to make for yourself. It's one of the secrets of life. There was a beautiful book I read on this, on finding the meaning in life, by a Holocaust survivor. I think his name is Viktor Frankl, and he talked about how even in the death camps, they found ways of surviving. So this is something that believers sometimes even struggle with. Even sometimes believers can have depression and anxiety and sadness in life, and sometimes you find people that don't even believe in God, determined, and they have meaning and purpose. And so it has nothing to do with religion or not religion. It's just something you have to find for yourself. It's one of the secrets of life, and I encourage people to check out my video on that, meaning of life.
Okay. So next is, doesn't it take just as much faith to be an atheist as it does to be a believer?
I think the evidence leads to atheism, in my opinion. I feel like believing in God is a leap of faith because God is not testable in any way. He doesn't communicate with us in any way that we can see or record or, witness. All we have is stories from the 7th century and, basically, ancient stories of people that supposedly God got involved all the time. He sent down floods and he sent angels and he did so many things, and now suddenly he went silent, and we don't have any way of really verifying that these things actually happened. It's just stories, told and retold and retold. What we do know is God answers prayers, supposedly, and if he answers prayers, we should be able to detect these things. If it's a real effect that someone actually prays to God and they get healed, this should be something that we should be able to detect. But unfortunately, we haven't seen any actual measurable effect of prayer on people. Like, for example, there was a Harvard study on intercessory prayer where they looked at the effects of people praying for other people in hospital, and they found that it didn't have any effect. In fact, the people that they prayed for, if they knew that someone was praying for them, they actually seemed to cause them some sort of anxiety because it actually took them longer to get better. So, whether I pray to a plant, I talk to my plants, or whether I pray to Ram, Krishna, Buddha, or Allah, or Jesus Christ, the Lord, nobody seems to be answering my prayers. None of them has any effect that I can measure. And if there was one true God, why would he answer prayers in someone else's name? So that's my reason for not believing, and that's what my answer would be to, does it require as much faith? So I think not really. I think it doesn't require faith to not believe in God because we don't see any God. Whereas to believe in God, you have to kind of hope and expect that someone's out there answering your prayers, even though it doesn't seem to be happening.
Okay. So isn't atheism just a religion?
So just like not wearing clothes would not be a clothing, I would say atheism, a lack of belief in God, lack of religion, lack of holy books, lack of rules would not be a religion, so to say. If some people say that secular humanism is kind of like a religion, but not atheism. Atheism is just a lack of religion per se. It's not a religion.
Okay, but it is a belief. It's a belief in nothing, basically, and no
I would
higher
say
power.
I would say it's not a belief in anything. I guess it's a negative rather than a positive.
Okay, so why do you hate God, or aren't you just angry at God?
So, me personally, I believed in God because I thought God was real. I thought the Quran was true. The Quran was the best proof of God for me. And so I believed in God with all my heart. And I don't hate God. I'm not angry at God. Nothing bad happened to me in life to make me start hating God and not want to believe. I just found some problems in the Quran that didn't make sense to me anymore. And I realized that the Quran couldn't be the word of God. And I've gone into a little bit more detail in some of the other videos why that is. But because of that, I don't believe in God. If there was, there was a true evidence that I could verify that God actually spoke to us and he exists and he's out there and he wanted us to worship him and he cares about us and he wants us to do certain things a certain way, then I would definitely do that. But as far as I can tell now, it doesn't seem like there's any God out there that's actually listening to us or answers our prayers or sent us any holy books or sent any prophets. From what I can tell, everything that we have in our lives is we're just here to take care of ourselves. We're here to take care of humanity, to any medicine that we come up with it's from our own work, to help protect ourselves from diseases. And I don't think there's any God out there. So I'm not angry at God. I just don't think he's out there.
Okay, but the Quran, isn't it amazing?
I used to believe in the Quran. I used to believe that the Quran was the final word of God, and that's why I believed in God, because it's just like if you don't know if there's aliens out there and then you find evidence of communication where aliens actually sent you a message, you'd be like, okay, now I know there's aliens because I can see they sent me this note, right? But if nobody's talking to you and it's just silent, how do you know if there's a God, right? Or if the only evidence you have is a book that is full of mistakes. Now that I've looked into it, I found a whole bunch of things that don't seem to add up. What I found is everything in the Quran seems to be things that Muhammad himself could have known. Embryology, we find it matches Galenic medicine, which is a Greek medicine from the I believe 5th century. All of the so-called miracles, I thought, that were things that prove the Quran not to be a word of man, but the word of God. One by one, every single one of them proved to be something that Muhammad could have known, was previously known. Like even the embryology, Aristotle actually wrote about embryology in more detail than the Quran does. So does that mean he was a prophet? Nobody says Aristotle was a prophet. So things like that, I don't want to get into that too much, but yeah, unfortunately, the Quran doesn't seem to be the word of God. It seems to be the work of a man in the 7th century. Everything in the Quran seems to be things that he could have known. And some of the amazing things in the Quran, like, encouragement to doing good deeds and encouragement to being a good person and give charity and freeing slaves and all these things. These are good, but we don't need to follow a religion for that. We can just get this from secular humanism.
So are you saying that if you could see God, then you would believe in him?
Exactly. If there was proof of God, I'd believe. I can't see anyone who wouldn't believe if they could see God, or if there's, strong evidence of God's existence. Many of my atheist friends have told me this, like, if I knew God was real, I would worship him. I have no reason not to. It's in my own self-interest. Who would throw themselves in a fire intentionally? Who is that stupid? Nobody. Unless you're crazy, then you don't deserve to go to hell anyways because you're crazy. I feel like I did the best I could based on the brain that God gave me. I tried my best to look into things and to find out. And I don't believe if there is a God out there and he's just, that he would punish anybody for following their conscience and for saying that, everybody in a way is an atheist. They're atheists of every other religion except their religion. Like, all Muslims are atheists of Christianity, right? They don't believe that, they reject, the Christian, in a sense, they reject the fact that Jesus is God. And they believe that it's all, it's not true that Jesus is God. And, I'm an atheist of Hinduism, and, you would be an atheist of Hinduism and Christianity if you're a Muslim. And Hindus are atheists of Allah, right? They disbelieve in Allah. So we all make kufr of all other religions except our own. Atheists, they're just doing kufr of one extra religion, which is the last one that you believe in. So we don't believe in any religion.
Okay, but isn't it better to be safe than sorry? What if you're wrong?
So this is known as Pascal's wager. If you haven't looked into it, it's a good thing to look up Pascal's wager. Pascal came up with this idea that it's safer to believe in God, just in case. And I believe, with all my heart, that, like I just said, that we should find out now. If this is the only life that we have, why waste it on a false religion, right? Do your research, find out for yourself, is Islam true? Is Christianity true? Is Hinduism true? Is any of these religions true? Is it evidence of God? If God is out there, does he want to be found? Because I haven't seen him. He doesn't seem like he wants us to find him, because if he did, he would have made the universe in a way that depended on him. But it seems like the universe is just going on and on by itself without any external force. It seems that nobody's answering our prayers. It seems that this is the one and only life that we have, so why not make the best of it? And you know what? At the end of the day, if this is the only life that we have, it's the what if is going to be against you. What if there is no God? And then you've wasted the only life you have, living for something and sacrificing and so much time praying and fasting and doing all these things for nothing at the end of the day. So I believe, make the most of it by finding out the truth now. And that's what I believe. If you've looked into it and you believe in some religion, that's good for you. You're doing the best thing. But if you're just in the middle and you're not sure, spend some more time to find out for yourself so you don't waste your life, Spend time, find out for yourself, and you'll become confident like me. And you'll know that, either there's no God or there is a God, or you'll whatever conclusion you come to, at least you'll be happy with that conclusion. And if there's a God, you tell him you did the best you could.
Okay, so lastly, what's the point in discussing religion if you don't believe?
So many people say to atheists, why do you want to talk about religion if you don't believe in God? And I think that it's a moral duty for me, as someone that actually found his way through religion, converted to Islam at a young age, and, believed that God was true, and, this is what he wanted from us, and defended it and, promoted it. I feel like I have a moral obligation to share with people that I no longer believe because of these reasons, and, to make people think and discuss and dialogue. And I feel like we have an obligation, those of us who went through this, to share with others so that others can kind of think about it as well and come to their own conclusions. Whether or not they leave Islam or not, that's up to them. But it's something that, is worth discussing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the discussion and for being in my video.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.